my hair is up in rollers right now. I curled it with an actual curling iron this time. I used the Heritage by Mindy curling iron. That should be up already on my channel, on my socials. But this makeup we're gonna be doing right now, holiday glam, I feel like this will work for either Christmassy, or maybe you need something for after Christmas, for New Year's Eve. Like, I feel like this works. It's gonna be like a very neutral, ready, well, neutral doesn't really go with ready, huh? When I say ready, I mean red. Red type of look. I have this like lip mask on my lips right now. This is the Laneige lip mask because my lips are feeling a little chapped, and if you know, you know, you can't really put like a bold red lip on chapped lips. It just looks so crusty. So hopefully by the time I get to my lips, they're not crusty anymore when I take this off. But either way, we're gonna make it work. It's gonna be a red-ish lip. While I do that, I'm gonna be doing a little story time, okay? And I'm gonna be doing a story time of all the places that I have worked. Not really a story time telling you like why I worked those places, but just like running down my resume, girl. I'm also gonna try to remember to tell you every product that I'm using in the shade, but if I don't, check down the description. Everything will be linked down there. I never leave y'all hanging, but sometimes y'all think I am and just like ask me anyway, and I can tell y'all never look at the description. Check down there because it takes us like 30-45 minutes to put the description together, okay? So this is the Luminous Silk Giorgio Armani foundation. It's one of my favorites, and I use the shade 13.25 if you're a shade tone with me. Some pumps. Okay, so let's get started with my work history, shall we? So the first place I ever like worked, and this doesn't mean a paycheck, I'm also gonna be throwing like internships and stuff in here too. The first place that I ever worked, I had an internship. I do just want to tell y'all I never worked in high school. My mom and daddy gave me allowance, and then when their divorce started happening, I really milked it, and I was just like, well, I just feel so bad. I worked at a place here in Chicago. If you didn't know, I went to college here in Chicago. It's called Columbia College Chicago, and I went to school for fashion. It's called Nicholas Joseph Suits or something like that, but it's basically like a custom suiting place for men's. I was really doing like anything. I was like pressing suits. They didn't really have me talking to any customers, and it wasn't like a shop where like a lot of customers would just like walk into, because like I said, it was like a custom suiting place. Remember, I would walk down to the Staples down the street and get like our water bottles to refill like the mini fridge that we had and stuff like that, and just like filing, organizing stuff, making it easier for like the owner, because I believe, I'm not even gonna say I believe, the owner's name was Nicholas. But I did get like my first like check from there. So even though like the internship wasn't paid, I didn't get any college credit for it, I did get a bonus. I got a my first like Christmas time bonus. Okay, so it wasn't spring semester. It was actually, it wasn't even my freshman year. It was fall semester of my sophomore year. I remember because I got a Christmas time bonus. They took us out to dinner and we got like Christmas cards and everything, and I was just like, oh, that's so nice. He gave us a Christmas card and took us out to dinner. And then I remember when I left, I opened it up and it was a check. I want to say it was like $700, and that was like the most money I had ever made at one point. And I was like, that was my very first like job, if you will. I consider it a job because I had to show up for it every day. I had responsibilities, things to do. Guys, my concealer, this is a Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Concealer too, and I wear the shade number 10. And then for my brows, I just put on the Velour Fluff and Brow Pencil, and I don't know what shade this is, dark brown. I really like this product too, and I do get a discount code on Velour products if you guys are interested, but it's like 3-in-1. It's like the best, one of the best brow products I've used. I've used a lot of good ones before, and that's one of my favorites I always go back to. After that, I remember I was like, okay, this is cute, but I need some money. So I did that for a semester, and it seems like in my mind, I don't know why, but it seemed like I did that for such a long time. So anyway, I was like, that's cute, but I need some money. And also I remember at the time I was staying in off-campus student housing, so like I had rent and everything, and for that first semester, because I wasn't making no money, my dad was paying my rent, and then my daddy was like, girl, we have to make something shake here, you're gonna have to contribute. So I like started looking for jobs. Actually, was that my sophomore year? Was it? I feel like that might have been my freshman year that I worked that job. Maybe it was my freshman year, because I remember my sophomore year of college, that's when I started working at Cole Haan, the shoe store. And I know for sure that that was around Christmas time, so these weren't during the same time period. So maybe Nicholas Joseph was my freshman year. Sophomore year, I started working at Cole Haan. And I remember I came on as a seasonal worker, and I was a cashier, the meanest cashier of Michigan Avenue. Like, I promise you, I was the meanest. Nobody else was meaner than me. I was efficient though. I was fast. I would get you rung up, checked out in like 5 seconds. Like, I knew how to do everything, but I was mean. And to get that job, I remember like I came with my resume and I was like, I don't have any job experience, like work experience. I told you, like, I had never worked a job before. The only thing I had done before that was the internship. And mama was like, lie. And so I had put on my resume that I had a job in Georgia. If you guys know, my family is originally from Georgia. I had lied and said that this is so bad. I lied and said that I had previously worked at my aunt's store in Columbus, Georgia as a cashier. The store was closed. My auntie had just passed away, so there was not no fact checking, no references. Could not call the store up, honey. So I was like, that's my experience. And oh, I always put too much of this contour on. Always. Oh, okay, we gotta make a match. This is the Mango People bronzer in the shade Clove. It was a seasonal job, which basically, like, if you work in retail, it means, like, you know, it gets busier around like Christmas time, and they start hiring for people around like early, when do they start hiring for people? Like maybe September, October, so that by the time it gets busy, the person is good and worn in. They know how to work all the systems, they know how everything runs. You don't want to hire somebody like the week before Thanksgiving. That's the busiest time of the year for retail stores or whatever, so you want to hire them like a little further out so that they have time to learn everything. So I remember it was a seasonal job, and they were letting us know, like, after it's over, after the seasonal period is over, we're gonna keep on 2 cashiers, and they had hired 3 of us. They were like, so like the best of the 3 are the ones that we're gonna hire. And I was like, well, I'm gonna be one, because I need this job, because my daddy had said, girl, you need to help pay this rent now. So oh no, I need a slipper brush on that. It was me and my friend Kirsten. I remember she used to get so mad because people call her Kristen, and she'd be like, that is not my name. My name is Kirsten. No KR, KIR. Oh, she used to crack me up. She's hilarious. But anyways, yeah. Me and Kirsten ended up being the ones they kept on because we were fast. And that's all they really care about when it comes to like keeping a cashier, especially like on Michigan Avenue, because like the line can get, or I don't know about now. It's really sad when I go down Michigan Avenue here in Chicago now, because it's not what it used to be. When I used to work Michigan Avenue back in the day, it makes me sound like I'm super old, but whatever. It used to be like people out walking the streets of Michigan Avenue, like throngs of people walking. Like, it used to be a lot of people out, and now when you go down Michigan Avenue, the sidewalks is barren. So that was the second place I worked, and I worked at Cole Haan for a while. So after I graduated college, I still worked at Cole Haan up until our store closed. I don't remember what year it was, but at one point I was basically working 7 days a week. I would go to work for my 9 to 5, and then I would work on the weekends, like every day. I would work every single day. Moving right along, so I was working Cole Haan this whole time. And then once I graduated college, my goal was to like move to New York right away. My friend Tanisha did it. I remember I had started applying for jobs in New York, and then I got like cold feet. I got really scared because jobs started calling me back to be like, okay, we want you to come interview. And I was like, hold up. hold up. Like I got really like nervous about it and scared about it, and I was like, I can't do this. But I did get an internship right out of college at like this fashion app that was here in Chicago. And this is what I will say. I've said it before here on my channel, and I'll say it again. If you are in Chicago, this is for my Chicago gals. If you're in Chicago and you're trying to break into fashion, I'm so sorry to tell you, the options are way more limited here than they are in New York or LA. I would almost even say like LA is second behind New York. I'm gonna just say it, okay? There are more options now than there were when I was coming out of college, because they have a lot of work from home jobs that are available now. But right now, like the big jobs that you could get here, like working in a fashion-esque, beauty-esque type of scene here, you have CVS, you have Ulta, and like maybe a few other places, but those are like the big dogs. Make your way to New York. Make your way to New York, get the experience that you want, and then come back here. So I worked at a fashion app. It was interesting. The app never went anywhere. It was called Purely Fashion, I think it was called. And basically what I did there was like, I used to sit there all day. They would basically take everything from like, remember when like Vogue has like their runway portion of the site? I would just take everything from Vogue.com and put it on our app. I don't know to this day, I can't tell you what the purpose of the app was. I've told this in a story time before. I'm not going to rehash the story itself, but if you want to, go back, find the story time and watch it. But I did work at a modeling agency after that. And, hold on, I can't do this part and talk. And that was kind of fun. I actually thought that like I was going to like continue my career like working at other modeling agencies. Like one of my old professors at Columbia, she was looking for an office assistant, like a junior office assistant or something. I can't remember what it was called exactly, at her modeling agency, or at the modeling agency. She didn't own it, but she worked there. And I think she was like the director or whatever. So I remember like she like had sent an email out to a couple of us students to see like if we'd be interested, and I replied back. And so this was like the second time I had done like a group interview, and it was basically like we came in for like a couple of days, and we were there like all working like together. And from us being there for I want to say we were there for like a week, and from us being there for like those couple of days, she decided based off of like everyone that was there like who she wanted to hire, and she picked me. So basically what I would do there is I skipped a couple of products. So the lighter concealer you saw me use was the Makeup by Mario, and this is in the shade 380. And then I put on the One Size setting powder, and then this is a Jason Wu like puff. I like that puff. That's all the products I use, right? Yes. Okay. Moving on to bronzer, I'm reaching for my Subtle Stack. I use the Cocoa bronzer from Subtle Beauty. It's my favorite. I use it all the time for everything. You're gonna see me use this as eyeshadow too right after this. So anyways, at the modeling agency, basically all I was doing was like people would call, or I would call people, let them know like when their castings were, like if they had booked a casting or whatever, I would like give them a call to remind them, because as a modeling agency you want to let them know like, hey, we booked you for this casting, this is what time you're supposed to show up, blah blah blah. And then if they got the part, we would do the same thing like for the job. We'd be like, hey, you know, this is your casting, blah blah blah, 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 all that type of stuff. And then we also had like open, I was about to call it open mic night, but like an open casting call type of situation where if you wanted to, you could just walk into the office and we would see you to see if you would be a good fit for our agency to sign you. And I remember like they had like tried to start it, or they started to try to like get me like acclimated to that, to like doing that. They wanted me to like run it. But I don't know, I think I had like, I'm very much the type of person, like I don't perform well on my first try. I get like stage fright and things like that. Like, but once I start doing things repeatedly, like I said, repetition makes me like a master of it. So I feel like I just needed to be doing it like more frequently, but I like did it one time. I didn't do that well at it, and I feel like they were like, okay, well, you know, she's not cut out for that. But I remember like me and like my boss, my professor, we were kind of close or whatever. Like sometimes like she would give me like a ride here or there. But I got fired from that job. That's the one and only job I've ever gotten fired from. And I told you guys in a previous story time why I think I got fired. I'm not going to rehash those details, but if you want to go find it, you're more than welcome to. But I did get fired from that job, and I do feel like it was under suspicious circumstances, me personally. So I got fired. I remember like the day I got fired, I was boo-hooing, crying, and I ended up being like Craig off Friday. I got fired on my day off. How that happened, no idea. I got fired on my day off, and you know what was weird? Me saying I'm not gonna rehash it. I'm not gonna rehash all the story, but I will tell you a few things that I thought were weird. I had just been talking to her about like, yes, I'd love to move up in the company. Like I wanted to make it full time because I was working this job and I was still working at Cole Haan. And at this point I was real sick and tired of Cole Haan. Tell you now. Oh, I forgot to put my cream blush on. Oh well. I was trying to get out of Cole Haan. I just knew I wasn't going to be able to make it long term in retail. And I've said this before, no shade to nobody, but I just don't have the temperament to be in retail for a long time. And I was also just like, did I really just pay all this money for a degree to work retail? I could have got this job without a degree. It just came as a total shock and surprise to me. You know how sometimes like you feel like you could tell? Let me tell you one thing. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a little bit of details. I did know something was up and something fishy was happening because I would come into work at my desk. There were only literally 3 desks. We worked in like a loft. It was basically like, it was a loft, but like it could have been an apartment as well, whatever, right? I came in and there would be somebody's stuff at my desk. Like somebody had been sitting there, and like I was part-time, and from my knowledge, I was the only part-time person that was there. So it looked like they had been like interviewing, or somebody had been coming in on the days and I wasn't there, and nobody had said anything to me about it. So that's why I was like kind of suspicious. Like if they had said like, oh, hey Niara, like we're gonna have like somebody come in on the days that you're not there, whatever. But like it still would have been kind of like a gut punch to me, kind of, because I had, like I said, I had been talking to my boss about like hopefully becoming full-time. Was back to working at Cole Haan. I wasn't even full-time at Cole Haan. That's what was like annoying me. Oh my gosh, I had this that I wanted to put on. I'm in here talking. I do just want to tell y'all about this product, even though I didn't use it. This is the Armani Fluid Sheer Glow Enhancer in the shade number 10. If you like a liquid highlight, a glow from within type of look, get this product. You can mix it with like your foundation. You can just put it on your skin as a highlight. You can do so many different things with this product. I promise you this video is not sponsored by Giorgio Armani, but they did send over a big box of stuff. And it was so nice of them. But I have been using this product lately and I love it. It just looks so glowy and nice. And then for my blush that I just used, this is the Luminous Silk blush from them, and this is in the shade 61. It's a very pretty pinky magenta-y type of color. Anyways, I got fired. So I was back at Cole Haan only, exclusively. And I was so annoyed because I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so I have this Armani highlight. This video is not sponsored. It's such a pretty highlight, okay, right? And I was just looking at it, I was like, this looks like something's under here. There fully is. It's a little brush under here. I don't know why I was just so surprised by it. I'm probably never gonna use that brush, but anyways. So I wasn't full-time there yet. And I didn't want to be full-time at Cole Haan. That was the thing. I wasn't like aiming to be full-time at Cole Haan, because the thing was is like they were never gonna make a cashier full-time at Cole Haan because it just like it wasn't necessary. I'm thankful I've never really experienced depression like to the extreme like I know some people have. But I will say at that point in my life, I feel like I was like starting to feel the effects of it a little bit. Like I was starting to see like friends that had went to college with me for fashion or whatever, moving on and doing things within fashion, and I was not. And I was feeling so left behind. I was just feeling like, what am I doing with my life? This powder, this is the Sephora Micro Smooth powder. I use the shade Toffee. It's so nice, and I just used it on top of this. I put the Maybelline Fit Me powder. This is also in the shade Toffee. to carve out underneath, because like for holiday makeup you can just be a little bit more dramatic and just carve out your cheekbones a little bit, you know. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On eyeliner. I really like this one. It is super creamy and easy to blend, and for beginners I definitely recommend a crayon. Don't go with the ink, just saying. So I started applying for jobs like crazy in Chicago. Like, not that I already wasn't, but like, you know, like once you get a job you kind of get comfortable. So when I was at the modeling agency, I was for sure that I was going to be moved to full-time, so I kind of got comfortable and I wasn't applying for jobs as much as I had been before. And so it was time to start like getting on the grind again. At the time LinkedIn was a thing, but it wasn't like as big as it is now, I feel like. So I started applying for all the jobs again, and I was just getting really discouraged because it started to hit me really quickly that like the fashion-y career that I wanted, I wasn't going to be able to get it in Chicago. And I just started applying anywhere at a certain point. Like at first I was really just only applying to like fashion-y jobs. I was trying to work at Ford Models has a branch here in Chicago. Obviously it's not as big as like a New York or LA office, but they have a branch here. I was trying to get a job there. Like I was just trying to get a job anywhere. And don't get me wrong, like Chicago isn't a bad place, but it just doesn't have, like for that type of work, doesn't have the same opportunities here. I was just itching to like be on my own, meaning like take care of myself. Like I just really wanted to be able to do that. My mascara, I'm not putting any lashes on today, but definitely if you're going to like a super glam type of event, put some lashes on if you want, but you can totally skip it. This is the Giorgio Armani Eyes to Kill mascara in black. This is really nice mascara for lifting. So I interviewed at Groupon and I got that job. So that was like my first like 9 to 5 out of college, and I was first working in customer service type of like position there. I've said in a story time before or recently or coming soon that that's where I met my best friend Des, and we were working there. It was kind of like customer service / call center-y vibes, and then I moved into like a another position there that was like kind of the similar but like different. I was like working more like I had like specific like clients type of deal. And then my last position there, I was like I was in like the sales department, which like you can make a lot of money there. Like there were people, like if you were like above your quota, you would be incentivized for it, like depending on how above your quota you were. There were people that were bringing home like $20,000 checks, but it's very hard, I will say. And I also just did not like that my livelihood depended on how convincing I could be to someone, and I didn't like that. I wanted my job and my livelihood to be dependent on how well I worked, like my work, you know, like what I did. I quit my job at Groupon. I did not give them any notice because I don't know if like sales is like this today or at every company, but like my job at Groupon, it was very much so like, if you want to stop working here, you better be telling them on your last day, otherwise they're just gonna send you home today. So remember how I said my lips were a little crusty in the beginning? They're still feeling a little crust dust around the edges, so I'm gonna try to make this red work, but it's not. I was gonna do like a really matte red lip. I don't think I can do that. Anyways, for my lip liner, this is a new one from Farrah Hamidi in the shade, what shade is this called? Bruni. It's brown. So yeah, I didn't give them any notice. I literally sent my resignation letter. I was on the airplane going to New York. So when I landed in New York, I didn't have a job. If you watched that story time before, you know that I went there like a couple weeks before I actually moved to try to find a job, and I was not successful. My suggestion to anybody moving to New York without a job, sorry, it's really hard to do that and talk, go to retail. Just go to retail, get something part-time so you still have time to interview for jobs. And so that's what I did. And where did I go? To Cole Haan. Because it hadn't been that long since I had worked at the store in Chicago that had closed. What is this on here? What I want to do, quick story time break. If this happens to you, if your lips are crusty and you want to do a matte lip, put some lip balm on, put your liner on. You're gonna take whatever color it is you want to wear. And I actually learned this at a Giorgio Armani masterclass. Put that shade in the center of your lip. And just sort of like diffuse it out so you still have that red hue, but it's like balmy now. So anyways, I went right to Cole Haan. I walked in the store, did not have a meeting scheduled or interview scheduled with anybody, and I was just like, hey, do you guys have any job openings? Are you hiring for seasonal? And they were like, no, but the other store is. And they sent me over to the other store and I got the job on the spot. So I was working at Cole Haan for like a month until I moved to New York. And then after that, I started working at L'Oreal, which I went into detail into all of this in another story time. That's really pretty gloss. So I worked at L'Oreal, and then after a year of being at L'Oreal, which is a really fun job, I got lots of free makeup and stuff. The L'Oreal employee store, chef's kiss. I was working at L'Oreal for a time, and then after that I quit. Or I didn't quit. I got another job working at Michael Kors, which was like my end all be all. Like I was like, finally I made it. I'm in fashion now. And at both L'Oreal and Michael Kors, I was doing what I currently do today, which is work in e-commerce. So anything that you see on the front end of like the Michael Kors website, like as far as like handbags was concerned, is what I was in charge of. So, and this is our finished holiday time makeup. I'm a neutrals girl, okay? I'm never gonna go all out and go like super crazy or anything with my makeup, but I will add like a pop of color, like festivity in there, like when I feel like it's necessary. And I feel like holiday time is definitely like that time of year where you want to like do it up a little bit. You want to like add a little pop of red. Maybe you want like your lip to be a little bit pinky or something like that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.